Brother, there is no way Vinnie is not Xerosic from Pokemon X and Y. The more you look at it, the more details you see. We have the glasses. We have the facial expression. It's the same frown. And then the cheeks. Also, look at the tie. He's got his little tie, but is still wearing the tie. 2 gloves. It might look like Xerosic only wears 1, but the other one is in his pocket. And then this guy has the same kind of gloves. And then the hair. That at the top of Vinnie's head, he's wearing like a little Pancham and Baniri thing, but it just kind of replicates his hair. This dude's Xerosic, which means now we gotta think about everything else possible in Pokemon Legends ZA. I kind of care, but also it's Pokemon Legends, and like how Arceus just threw away all of the existing lore to make stuff up, I don't know how much this is going to ruin the established lore of Kalos and Pokemon X and Y. So let's see what's going on here with Jet and Vinnie and Quasartico Incorporated. So Jet is the CEO of Quasartico, a large corporation driving Lumiose's urban redevelopment plan with the aim of shaping the city into one that belongs to both people and Pokemon. It seems she hopes to deepen the bonds between Pokemon and people. Why, though? This is also what I didn't like about Pokemon Black and White's story. You didn't need to question if it's right to be a Pokemon trainer and if Pokemon need to be liberated, that we can already see that the bond between people and Pokemon throughout the entire telling of Pokemon has only strengthened. And if we're talking about like modern Pokemon X and Y, it's still going to be pretty strong. So I don't know what her problem is. And also we have the rest of Kalos for the bonds of people and Pokemon, where that is fully expressed. And Mega Evolution! You have to have the bond with your Pokemon to be able to synergize with the Megas. So I already don't trust her, and I don't care how much the cliche gets overplayed, where it's like, yep, the corporation turns out to be evil. We saw this with Team Flare, we saw this in Pokemon X and Y. Sure, she just runs it back, and now I have to be suspicious of Vinnie, a large man who wears sunglasses. Everything we need to know. He works at Quasartico as Jet's secretary. He always seems to be busy and has a reputation for being a fast worker. And see, this is what I mean with like the hair thing, dude. It's just Xerosic. He is Xerosic. And also like the same frown, same demeanor, same build roughly. You shed a couple pounds and clean yourself up a bit. Same dude. So here I've already predicted the story. You're going to be like, wait a second, this dude really seems like Vinnie. That means Quasartico is bad. But actually, he's completely reformed and either keeps Jet in check or saves you when Jet turns out to be the bad guy. Vinnie is going to cause the suspicion that something is wrong, but then actually turns out to be the good guy, and who knows what other shenanigans are going. My theory is that the redevelopment plan has ulterior motives. Duh, if you're just kind of going from these are the bad guys perspective, there's going to be something else up. As for what it is, if this is taking place after Pokemon X and Y, because we also have AZ running around, that means the legendary issue has been settled. The ultimate weapon is no problem. Whatever happened with Xerneas and Yveltal, that's settled, and maybe we even fight like the protagonist as the champion, and they pull out the legendary Pokemon on us, or something like that. So I don't think that's it, but that leaves Zygarde. Legend ZA. For some reason we're going from Z to A. Who knows what happened to Azoth. I don't know if we're like, we need more history than just not even rebuilding, just kind of upgrading Lumiose, which is already one of the best cities, even in modern Pokemon. So either the redevelopment is to get the cores into the city and then pull shenanigans, because we actually see some of the cores wandering around the city, and that might actually be a main part of the quest to progress the main story. Or it's some kind of redevelopment to piss off Zygarde even more with the destruction of Kalos. That's like, yep, now we're doing even more building and more disruptive stuff. Or there's going to be some digging and underground tunneling trying to make it to Zygarde's cave. So that way the people don't suspect anything that's going on. It's like, whoa, was that an earthquake? Why is there so much noise going on? Are they building under the city? Yeah, it's part of the redevelopment plan. Don't worry about it. And then Vinnie does his things. Also, there's a section on the legendary Pokemon Zygarde. So Zygarde is made up of multiple cell-like components. Changes form depending on how many of these components have gathered together. Brain is a few existing Zygarde cores. It seems to have taken a special interest in you. Could this be the connection to the story? We also see the 10% form. just kind of popping around the city at some point. Yeah, and there's the 10% form overlooking the city. So Zygarde is actually a really interesting Pokemon when you think about its capability to scout the world. It can just drop cells all across the world to keep an eye on things, and then you have like the speedy extra scout that can run back and report or cover a lot more ground when needed. So it's like, I don't like what's happening in Lumiose City. I already got upset the first time they built this massive tower and everything else going on. Now I don't like this new lady either. And then the trainer is going to be the one entrusted, because like, this guy's is pure of heart. Maybe we can trust the trainer to do something here. The complete form also makes an appearance on the website. When it's at 100%, it uses overwhelming power to suppress those who endanger the ecosystem. Is the whole story already played out right here? From the orifice on its chest, it radiates a high-powered energy that can eliminate everything. Great. Just everything. And that's also why we have, like, Zygarde, as we know it, being only the 50% form. So we got 50% chilling back at the cave. We got 10% running around. And we got 40% of the cells and cores and whatever just kind of doing its own thing. So about half of its cells are chilling. It's scouting out the city. And then we're going to actually see, like, a Zygarde complete form have major story impact. This is just Z version. Why call it Legends to not actually go back and tell the story of the Pokemon War, unless AZ is just going to have, like, his own little segment or something. So actually, the main story in the main game is not Pokemon Legends. You just play through that to where you unlock the Pokemon Legends epilogue being told through AZ or something. So none of this makes sense, and we're stuck in Kalos. Or we're stuck in Lumiose City, so we don't get to re-experience Kalos, the region we only saw once for 1 year. The least explored region. We get an entire game based around, and we don't get to explore it again. That is the biggest crime of this game. Now, what about Vinnie? Can we get any other ideas about the story? Xerosic is one of 5 scientists that are the driving force behind Team Flare. That's kind of another thing. It's like, how do you let this happen? How do you let, like, Team Flare and Lysander and, like, the whole Flare Corporation? Yeah, Lysander Labs, because he's just beloved with his development and plans that he has for Kalos. So, we're just seeing that again. So yeah, he wanted to wipe out most of the world's population so the planet could become beautiful and unspoiled again. Alright, and then Xerosic, he's also the only male scientist, has red goggles, first encountered in the basement of Lysander Labs. After battling the player deep in the hideout, he offers them a chance to stop the ultimate weapon by choosing one of 2 buttons, as one will activate the device. However, despite both his offer and Lysander's promise, he just activates the weapon regardless. He then brags about it as a victory for Team Flare's science. So yeah, one of the lead scientists that, like, was a part of rebuilding the ultimate weapon, and then is the one that just said, nah, send it anyways, even after Lysander's promise and everything else. So, like, the biggest bad in all of this to just be that jerk at the end that's like, no, evil plan still happens. Like, I guess it makes sense if he goes for, like, the complete reform to atone for that much sin, potentially. After downfall of Team Flare, he goes into hiding and begins conducting a project on his own. And then he goes, like, extra evil. He's like, no, we must keep the project alive. We must purge the Earth still. I don't care if we lost. He sets up a lab in a secret floor of the Lysander Labs complex and posts a notice in the Lysander Cafe looking for part-time employees, hiring the Lumiose gang for security and Emma as his test subject. He makes the expansion suit to augment human subjects in a number of ways, including giving them superhuman reflexes, shape-shifting powers, and the ability to hack and control Pokeballs. After teaching Emma how to be a trainer and loaning her his Pokemon, Xerosic advances the experiment to the next stage, which he remote controls the suit while Emma sleeps inside of it. Actually mega evil. We were just kind of, yeah, I guess he's a bad guy in 2013, but in current year? Oh, that has whole new context of not okay. You can't control a girl while she sleeps and is unaware about it. So then we have Essentia goes on a crime spree throughout Lumiose. That goes into the Looker story quest. Xerosic realizes his creation of the expansion suit was a success. His plans were finished. He surrenders to Looker and is taken away for trial. And that kind of makes this weird. So, like, does Looker put Vinnie in as a secret agent to make sure that Quasartico isn't just another Lysander Labs or Team Flare startup. Because it's like, yeah, the last time we had someone with big dreams and ambitions, it didn't go so well. So we need someone on the inside to make sure that is going to be your community service. Before leaving, he donates all of his Pokemon and the expansion suit to Emma, having deactivated the remote control function, asking her to use them to protect the peace of Lumiose City. So, I mean, there's a lot that could go on here in regards to Pokemon Legends ZA, where it's like, if there's any shenanigans, maybe we actually get bailed out by Emma. Also, that goes into Pokemon Generations, where, like, we saw how this played out. Bro, she brutally punted Looker's Meowstic. Oh, that still upsets me. I get a little teary when I see that, but also I get teary back when, like, he ain't happy and gets the revenge, and now we find out. So, I mean, like, the stories are there. They've been told and retold since Pokemon X and Y, and have a link to get upgraded, or at least, like, followed up on with Pokemon Legends. So, hopefully, Pokemon Legends isn't as screwed up as Pokemon Legends ZA isn't as screwed up as Arceus. It's mostly just kind of like, we could have done this with a Z version and then tell more Kalos. You didn't have to change the exploration or the core systems or the battle mechanics. It could have just been Kalos on the Switch and everyone would have been happy. This is actually the game you don't have to touch the least, because yeah, you hear a lot of Pokemon fans saying, oh, I want different battles, oh, I want different things like this, it's just the same game over and over. Well, when Pokemon makes the same game over and over, they do much better. Pokemon Legends Arceus is the worst-selling main series Pokemon game on the Nintendo Switch, and then Pokemon Scarlet and Violet and Pokemon Sword and Shield are absolutely crushing it with over 26 million units each. It turns out people just want to play Pokemon, and that's what makes Pokemon special, is doing the same kind of systems over and over. You expand it with possibilities. We have open world, we have open area, you throw in some DLC, everyone's having a good time. You don't need to change it to have the best Pokemon games. It's the fan service I'm worried about, which we saw way too much of in Pokemon Legends Arceus, where they did not care about respecting the lore. Here, I feel like Kalos is already established and set up to where you can't avoid the lore. It's almost impossible to screw up. And then you throw in this little twist with Xerosic and Vinnie, and it actually might get better. Like, it actually might have some promise to be good here, but still going to fumble compared to the potential of just getting Pokemon Z, a true Generation 6 remake. Either way, that's what I want to talk about and break down. Hope you guys enjoy the video. Hope you all have a nice day. Thank you very much for watching.